Hey guys, welcome back to some more Raid Shadow Legends. Today's video, we're going to be looking at the campaign and farming these rare heroes that are honestly a big game changer. Want to hop in the portal, want to do some summons, and also look at the fusion because these rare champions that you have to farm within the campaign are going to go into the fusion, which again, I want to really show you. So looking at our campaign, we're going to start right in zone number 4 with this rare champion right here, which is the Spirit Host. Now, overall, this is a rare support champion in early game. I mean, we're 2 weeks in. It's super difficult to get support champions and makes it very hard to make progression. But in here, does a really big attacks on enemy heals for 50% of the damage inflicted. This is the big one. When we look at strength and when we think of bigger picture, looking at our bosses, places a 50% increased attack buff on allies for 2 turns. That is massive, especially early game, really making a big difference. And then removes all debuffs on all allies. When you look at the poison, when you think a lot of the things, including it blocks debuffs on allies for 1 turn. Again, there's a lot of different game modes where you get stunned, you get poisoned. Even looking at the PvP aspect, very big when you're able to block debuffs in their entirety. And you can see level 2 is going to take this to 5 on the cooldown, and level 2 is going to take this to 3, meaning when you have this up for 3 entire turns on that, or essentially 2 turns that it's up, that 3rd turn, if you have it maxed out, it is going to pop that increased attack again, which means there's going to be minimal downtime when it comes to building that out. Now, for our second one, we're going into the palace, and this one we're looking at Harris. This is a rare attack. Now, when you think of damage, when you think about maximizing damage in here, really big because attacks 1 enemy, grants an extra turn if the target is killed. Looking through a lot of the progression, this can make a big difference when you're going through the campaign. But this, again, is the big one. When we think about speed, it is the absolute biggest thing when it comes to raid. Removes 1 random debuff from an ally, 60% chance of placing a 15%, or a 30% right here on all allies. So if you're stacking it with some attack buffs, if you're stacking it with speed, this is going to be massive for those 2 turns. And you can see that the buff chance can actually go up to 100% if you have this built out. Now, the Avenger counterattacks the attacker when an ally is attacked, getting a lot of extra damage, a lot of extra attacks in there. And then we also do have allied speed in dungeon. So again, when you think about a dungeon and being able to run this and cycle through all of your skills and abilities much faster, she is going to do that for you. Now, looking at our next one, we're going over to zone 9, and this was the single most hero that was really the biggest game changer for me, which was War Maiden. I picked up War Maiden. We've been building her out. And the reason for War Maiden, some of the big things is 1, she has a poison, which does incredibly well. Right here, it places a 50% increased attack buff on this champion and places an extra hit if it is critical. So you can do a little bit more damage. But the big thing with this champion itself is this one. Attacks all enemies, has a 75% chance of placing a 60% defense debuff for 2 turns. Massive. It is absolutely massive. When you think of those 3 champions, you have one side that you're buffing attack, or you're buffing speed, or you're decreasing defense. This is huge when it comes to bosses, when it comes to any of the big content. War Maiden will do incredibly well with the defense. The decrease of defense in here makes a really huge difference. And honestly, that hero right there has been my absolute biggest game changer that I have picked up so far as the rare champions. Now, Hallowed Halls is the next one, and we cannot overlook Executioner. This one, rare defense. So if you're thinking about a tank, this is one that works incredibly well. 15% chance to stun. PvP, definitely getting the stun, but also when you have very strong targets, when you're trying to, again, kind of push content, stuns can make a really big difference. Having the ability to crowd control within this game makes a big difference because, of course, they can't attack you if they're stunned for that turn, really locking them down. Now, also decreasing speed for 2 turns. And again, if you max this out, if you build it out, you're going to get a lot more of those buff debuff chances, as well as the cooldown on here. Very interesting, very odd with the attack defense combination, but having a decreased speed, because like we said earlier, the biggest single most attribute that we have within Raid is speed. So if you can increase your speed of your team, decrease the enemy speed, this is going to be a big difference. But then you do the increased defense and a counterattack. So this does go on this champion, but now you're boosting, again, increasing the defense where we had War Maiden, which is nerfing the defense on the enemy. You can see how this kind of plays hand in hand, depending on what content you're doing, where if we have something that is a lot stronger, a lot higher defense, you can nerf the defense with War Maiden. If you have a boss or a campaign progression that is hitting you entirely too hard, you can increase your defense with champions like this, making a really big difference. And the last one we're going to look at is, of course, one of my favorite, the Diabolist. Now this, again, another support rare champion, all of them completely farmable, but we have a sleep. Again, with the crowd control right here makes a really big difference. Places a 30% increase on all allies for 2 turns. Even with the cooldown, again, you can get this to 3 turns. So you have this up for 2 turns. Third turn, you'll have the ability to cast it. So you almost have it up the entire time except that 1 turn cooldown, which increasing speed, again, makes a really big difference in here. And then we have this one. Fills the turn meter. Now, there's not a lot of champions that I have so far that really adjust the turn meters. So fills the turn meter of allies by 15%, and then fills the turn meter of allies by 15%. Decreases the meter of the enemies by 15%, and you can get this on a 4-turn cooldown, meaning that you're going to be able to cycle through all of your turns and all of your abilities a lot faster, because you're also on the flip side nerfing the enemy teams with the cycling through here. And when you stack speed on some of these, as you can see down here, speed is at 105. There's a lot of speed on some of these champions that are built in just for the regular base. Now, when you're building them up, when you're putting speed gear on them, things of that nature, they are going to go through and cycle through a lot faster than we see. Now, looking at some of these and thinking of the fusion, and again, I want to hop in, I want to do a couple summons, but looking at the fusion, and this is an important one on the Relic Keeper, is right here we have War Maiden, we do have the Spirit Host, we do have Harness, and we do also have right here Diabolist. These are 4 of your rare champions that you're going to have to sacrifice for the fusion. From my understanding is if we go in here, you see they have to be 3 stars, and they also have to be 3-star ascended, which means a champion like War Maiden, I want more than 1 copy of, knowing I'm going to sacrifice 1. And then you do pick up the champion origin or Justicar in here. Now, the big thing with this champion is it is the final step. It is the key when it comes to building out these missions. He is the actual very, very last one right here. Fuse Justicaran. This is going to finish it out when you go into part 3. So save this. And again, you got to have all 4 of those rare champions. You have to have all of them at 3 stars, which you'll have them at, but you also have to get them ascended to 3 stars to actually be able to use to fuse them. So again, bigger picture when we think of, kind of pipelining all of your essentially the champions that you get to a point and building up to a point that you're no longer going to use them anymore, that you might replace them, with legendary, with epic champions. Some of these rare champions will be replaced, and those replaced champions will go into, or the champions you had will go into the fusion aspect to build up and fuse Justicaran, just to make sure that we're going. So let's hop in, guys, and let's do a couple summons. Now, a couple things here. We do have the event right now that is based around the summons, which I believe it is the tournament. Any place that I can get free loot out of here. The tag tournament right here, I believe we're still in first. So we're doing incredibly well with the tag tournament. Same with PvP with the arena. I believe we're in second right now. So very close in the running for that one. Champion Chase. Get champions by any means. Shards, market, campaign, etc. And get rewards. Now, I have literally just been holding off on this. The 54 points we have so far are just out of the regular drops. But I want to get some of this food. I want to get some of this chicken. Definitely being able to push this a little bit further. Fire Knight, I completely skipped because it's incredibly hard right now. Guardian Ring, I am leveling up time and time again. And I didn't spend any of my gems on getting the affinities. I should have really went in here and gotten, the masteries. I should have gotten all the masteries in here. I did not, so I don't want to kind of double back saving up some of our gems, but let's go ahead and get into these summons. Hopefully we'll get somebody out of here, and I want to knock out some of these mystery ones. Now in here, there's no point in here, especially being free to play, that you're not going to need food, that you're not going to summon champions out of here. It seems like right here with our basic shards, these are going to be used forever, going in, and again, getting the 1 stars. 1 stars go to 2 stars, 3 stars, 4 stars, and of course, this gets the food when we're making 5 stars and 6 stars. Really does make a big, big difference when you're building these out of here. And then once we're done with these, we'll hop in. We have a couple of our a couple different shards in here again to use, because this is our double. You can see the 2x chance. This is the time, if you have shards, that you need to be using them. The rare is up, the epic is up, the legendary is up. So with all of these being higher, the epic and the legendary, of course, are the two big ones that you want to make sure that you're using your ancient and your void shards on when you do have the opportunity. We already got 7 ancient shards. Again, hopefully we'll get some good rares, maybe even an epic or a legendary in there. So let's see, we're at 88. Let me burn through these. I don't want to just sit here and kind of go through with all of the mystery shards, because there we can only get rares, but let's see if we can get lucky with some of these shards itself. So we know getting those blues, getting those rares are going to make a big difference. Now, another thing to remember is with a lot of these rares that we're getting, we need to use them in a lot of different places, making sure that we have a multitude of copies. And there we go, guys. We have a new epic right there, Bushai. Let's see what this hero brings. So attacks one enemy, damage inflicted increases each time the skill is used, stacking 4 times. Okay, so doing more damage in there. This attack always crits, plays a 30% increased rate buff and a 15% increased buff on this champion. I wish that went on everyone and not just him. Revives this champion with 30%, revives this champion, places an unkillable buff. So if he dies, it's going to revive this champion, which is cool. Now, I like this one. Increasing the ally speed in the arena. That could be a really, really big buff. Again, I'm very unfamiliar with a lot of the champions in here. So anytime that we have the opportunity or the luck to pull, you know, an epic champion, a legendary champion, even getting some of these rares, again, we know that these rare champions we are going to have to use in a lot of different content. I have to continue to build them out. I don't want to use them as food. Right there is a hound spawn. Again, another rare. We have 2 more that we're going to do the summons in here. Hopefully something good, which there is another rare. Again, probability of getting a legendary or getting an epic is pretty slim, and it's just a numbers game. I really focus on this, especially like AFK Arena. There's Flesh Eater, is when you're going in here and doing summons, eventually you'll get them. Eventually you'll get, you know, the champions that you're looking for. Keep a champion from every faction. So there we go. So we do get a little reward out of there. So 2 chances for the epic. Let's do our 1 void shard we have in here. Maybe it's going to be something good. Probably just another rare, which it is another rare. You can see our tournament points that are coming up right here, but that does max this out, which means I have to make a lot more food. We have to take all of those commons and uncommons. The rares I'm going to keep. Now, the reason being for a couple different things. When we start looking at, you know, going in here and looking at the clan and looking at a couple different things within our champions itself, there's a point where we're having to use and save a lot of the champions. Even when it comes to faction wars, majority of these, I didn't have any, or I don't have any champions at all to use, meaning we're kind of stuck for a lot of these faction wars until we get to the point of having a few more of those rare champions, being able to farm it out, as you can see, as much as possible. So making a lot of solid progression in there in the faction wars are going to make a big, big difference in there. Now, of course, also looking at, you know, getting through the clan. We went through the clan shop. I want to go through and make sure that we're doing what we need to in every different section of the game, because there is a lot. This game has an incredible amount of depth. Even looking at the challenges right there, 250K. We're on 5 of 5. So once we finish this out in the entirety, I'm not sure if this resets. I'm not sure if there's anything else, but we have been going through a lot of these challenges, reaching gold, which I do not want to in the PvP aspect, going through a lot of the missions, which I know as we're making more progression and really moving through here, it makes a big difference. But I'm hoping that we did get some free loot out of here, which is exactly what we're looking for. Champion Chase Tournament, what did we get? So we got 50 more of our gems, and we're at 18. So what do we need? We need 1,000. So we need a lot more summons in here to pick these up, even getting to 1,800. Yeah, I mean, this is a lot. Looking at our info, of course, when we look at the shards that we used, very low, you can see we had the rare and we had the epic. Getting the champions in here. If you're looking at a mystical, if you're looking at legendary, absolutely getting some of these champions and these void champions, a lot more return, which again, we're about 2 weeks into the game right now. Having a ton of fun with it, almost on 42. We're trying to get to 42 right here. Also getting the Alice Chase. We're 39 of 75 for day 2. I feel like in the next 2 weeks, we're going to finish out the Alice Chase in its entirety. Absolutely very, very cool. I love Alice in the build. But as you can see, guys, the champions are getting there. Like I had said, we just pulled this copy of War Maiden. We're starting to build her out, getting some speed gear on there, which I know my gear needs a little bit of work. But we've gotten a couple legendaries in here. We've also gotten a couple more of our epics in here. So I'm going to have to check exactly where these heroes fall because we're continuing to pick them up regularly. Got a lot more 4 stars, 3 stars, just got to get a few more to get up to the 6 stars. And Tagore is going to be the next one that we're going to 6-star within this account. So guys, that's going to do it for today's video. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. And as always, thank you guys for watching.